to this special episode of the While She Naps podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg, and I am here with a co-host this week, Kristin Link. Hi, Kristin.
Hi, Abby.
Beyond this podcast and my blog and newsletter and sewing patterns, I am also the co-founder with Kristin of Craft Industry Alliance, a trade association for craft professionals. And next week, we are going to be celebrating our second anniversary. Yay!
Yay!
And so we decided to do a special episode of the podcast as part of our celebration of our second anniversary. And here is what we have planned. So in just a few minutes, we are going to be bringing on 4 different members of Craft Industry Alliance, or CIA as we like to call it. And they are a pretty diverse group when it comes to the type of craft business that they have. And in that way, I think they're actually really representative of the organization as a whole.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear from them. One of the things I'm most proud of about our community is the career diversity of our members. We always suspected the sewing maker communities to join because those are our friends and colleagues, but I'm really glad we've also been able to get members from the yarn, paper craft, ceramics, and jewelry communities. We also have makers, designers, retailers, authors, and teachers. It's really wonderful to see so many people join who are service providers to the craft community. They're photographers, copy editors, graphic designers, accountants, and lawyers who make their living by working with craft professionals. It's been really helpful and wonderful to have them involved in our organization.
Totally. It's been one of the highlights for me, is also just stretching my understanding of how the business works and how the industry works as a larger whole. You know, coming from a sewing background, I've learned so much about knitting and about crochet in the yarn industry, and then more recently about paper crafts and jewelry, and it's been wonderful. And as you said, we have so much more in common. So that's been really neat. And also, I love that there are graphic designers and photographers and photo stylists and lawyers and copywriters in there, because so often we need somebody to help us in our business. And it's like, where do you go to find people? How do you know somebody's good and is really in tune with what crafters need, you know? And so I think that's something that Craft Industry Alliance is really great at providing for our members. So
yeah, and they specialized in the craft community. So, you know, they just love the craft industry. So that's how they're making their living, is specializing, working with crafters.
Yeah. And like a lot of them, you know, they design knitwear and they're a lawyer. So there's somebody who really gets it. They understand Ravelry. They understand your business and what it is that you need when you're talking about, you know, coming up with a takedown notice because somebody's stolen your intellectual property. You know, they get it. They get you're a business of one, you know, or you have just a few employees and a fairly small budget, but you still need these particular legal services, for example. So I just think that's so valuable. And when we were coming up with the concept and the structure for Craft Industry Alliance way back when, and we, you know, one of the things that you and I felt strongly about was that our membership should really include a lot of different types of businesses. So a lot of different areas of craft, because we felt like, you know, our commonalities are so much greater than our differences.
Right. Well, you said this is our 2-year anniversary, but really this is our 3-year anniversary of working together, because you and I started with this concept about a year before we actually launched. And I remember during that year, we interviewed so many people, and we really confirmed what we suspected, is that even if you're a yarn dyer and I'm a quilt pattern designer, our jobs are very similar. We still have to do accounting. We still have to understand and work at social media marketing. We still have to make sure our businesses are legal and solvent. And also many members of the craft community, no matter what sector they're in, they're teaching, they're writing books, they're recording podcasts, and so on. So those are all issues that we talk about in Craft Industry Alliance, in our journal and on our forums and so on.
Absolutely. And bringing all those people together, new and interesting relationships develop too, which is really neat. So some neat synergies there. So, okay, we're going to get ready now to bring on our very first guest. And then after we have had a chance to talk with her, we'll delve a little bit deeper into exactly what membership in Craft Industry Alliance includes. So first up, we're talking with Craft Industry Alliance member Kate McKean. Here's Kate. To kick things off, we are going to talk to Kate McKean, who is a Craft Industry Alliance member. And Kate has been a literary agent for over a decade with the Howard Morhaime Literary Agency, and she represents authors of all stripes. She has sold over 40 craft books in her career and lives in Brooklyn with her husband and daughter. So Kate McKean, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have a chance to talk with you. And so why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about what it is that you do? Because I know, people hear, oh, a literary agent and, you sell craft books. What does that even mean? So tell us a little bit about sort of what your day-to-day job is like.
Sure. Yeah, nobody knows what a literary agent is. And I kind of put it in a couple of terms. For crafters, like when I talk to a lot of crafters, I say I make books, which is only kind of half true. I kind of make books happen. But larger, sometimes I say I'm like an actor's agent, but for books. It's my job to represent the author. And I do represent a lot of crafters and go to publishers with their ideas and say, hey, do you want to give this person money for their ideas? And make their ideas into a book. And sometimes that spins off into what we call ancillary products, which are usually other slightly book-shaped things like calendars or note cards and things like that. And I have helped some of my clients with fabric deals because they're not as complicated as other products. But generally, my job is to find people with good ideas that can be put into a book-shaped thing. And find the publisher that will do a good job for them.
Awesome. And so when somebody has an idea, do they then just sort of blindly, call you up one day or send you an email and say, here's my whole idea? Or sort of what does the process or the back and forth look like? If somebody's out there listening and says, oh, wow, I want to connect with a book agent.
Yeah. Every agent has submission guidelines on their website, and it will tell you exactly what they want to see. And a lot of times it's in terms of novels, like they want to see the first 3 chapters or the first 50 pages or something like that. And for crafters or people writing nonfiction or illustrated books, that doesn't make any sense to them because they don't have 50 pages or 3 chapters or whatever. And so then they'll write a nonfiction book proposal, and there are 7 million websites that will tell you how to do that, and they're all roughly the same. And I think that you could use any one and put the parts together in a way that would make sense to me. So a crafter would write a book proposal and email it to me. They would send me an email, and a lot of times they know one of my clients, and they'll say, Heather told me to contact you because I want to write this book about balloon animals or whatever it is, and they'll say, here's my proposal. And I will say, great. And I'll take a look at it. So don't ever call an agent on the phone. We don't have time to talk to people on the phone who are not our clients. And nobody wants to talk on the phone anymore anyway. And sometimes I meet crafters at conferences. And so they'll talk to me with actual words in real life about their ideas. And I'll say, hey, let's go. This sounds great. Or what about this? Or have you thought about that? And sometimes I reach out to people too, especially nonfiction things, because I'll say, hey, I need a book, or I want a book about X because I think I can sell it. And then I'll go and try to find the person to write it.
And do you help authors sort of shape their proposal? So what if, you're a first-time author, you've never done this before, you look up on the internet, how to write a book proposal or a query letter or whatever, and you put together what you think is going to be strong. And I know when I sort of pitched my first book, I did the same, exactly that. And then actually over the course of developing it, realized that it needed a lot of fine tuning. So can you help an author or a want-to-be author fine tune?
Oh, definitely. For 100%. Almost every single, I've only had like 1 or 2 proposals that were ready to go out of the gate. And it's not because the author was wrong. It's just because they haven't read 100 million book proposals like I have. And they don't know that, this kind of marketing information, a lot of people put marketing information in their book proposals that say, 80 million people in the United States knit. And that is fine and wonderful, but those are not your book market. Everyone who knits is not your market. And so there's, especially in the marketing section, there's a lot of misdirection in what's useful for a book proposal. But I have an editing background. I have an MFA in fiction writing. I'm used to kind of getting elbow deep in a proposal if it needs it. I always say that it's not my job to make it my book. It's not my book. So it's my job to try and figure out the ways that an editor is going to say no fast, like to say the easiest things that they're going to see, to say, nope, I don't want to buy this, and then fix those. Especially that's true a lot in novels, but in nonfiction book proposals too, where if I see a weakness, I'm going to say, hey, we have to fix this part. What can we do to make it stronger? So it's harder for the editor to say no, because they want to say no because they can't say yes to everything.
Right. And so you can catch those red flags. So that is fascinating. And I know you know so much about this area, and there's so much more that we could talk about. But I want to talk just for a second now about why you decided to join Craft Industry Alliance. I know that we met at a conference in person, and we had, been kind of internet friends prior to, and I think we were sort of just getting ready to launch, and you were excited about it. And so I guess, what are your thoughts about Craft Industry Alliance?
I think it's great. I think that the most valuable thing about it is the fact that it's an organization with a clear message and outlook and aim, which is to bring us all together to say and share information, because no one wants to talk about business in the craft world, and lots of other business, areas too. No one really wants to talk about money or terms or contracts or what they got or what somebody else got or how much, you sold this thing for, or what's your margins. No one wants to talk about that because it feels like sometimes people think it feels rude. Sometimes people think it's pushy. And we, I think as crafters, being mostly, but not exclusively women, are not conditioned to talk about those things. And we should be. Yeah. And the work that you've done to really investigate things and to say, hey, this is what's going on at that store you shop at all the time. And this is what it really means when you sign up to do this thing online. You have to read your contract. You have to understand how that affects your business. I think that is so invaluable. And I get really excited when you write another kind of investigative journalistic piece, because I'm like, oh, what did Abby dig up now? And I want to know what the secrets are. So I just think that level of sharing and that level of openness and encouraging that openness is so valuable for us as crafters and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And you've written 2 articles for us, and both of them have been fantastic. The most recent one was about negotiating, and about not being afraid to negotiate and not feeling as though you need to be friends with the people that you are doing business with. And then you wrote one a while back about, I think more generally, about getting books published.
Right. That's my job as well. Like, want to find the good ideas and want to match them with the right publisher. But I don't go away after that point. It's my job to negotiate the actual deal so that if the author doesn't want to talk about money directly with the editor, because that can be weird, that's my job to do. And to say, hey, no, actually, this is a really bad deal. or this is a really low figure. Let's try to get it up to what we can. And I want to teach other people how to do that. Not because it makes me obsolete, that doesn't bother me, but because I can't negotiate everything for everybody. But you should know how to do that for yourself. You should know how to ask for what you want, because no one's going to do it for you. And so I really like to talk about that stuff and share that information so that hopefully it'll help people, make a better living or advocate for themselves more.
Absolutely. And so in that way, one of the things that I really like to do with Craft Industry Alliance is to bring people who are experts in their area in to either lead webinars or write articles for our journal so that we get the absolute best voices. And you are definitely one of them when it comes to these particular issues. And so we so appreciate that. And I wanted to leave a moment now for you to recommend something that you're enjoying right now. Could be business related if you've got something business related, or it just could be something awesome for somebody creative.
Well, full disclosure, she's a client. It's kind of both my job to hype my clients, but also when I choose to work with somebody, it's because I like their work, because I get to choose whoever I work with. I'm not obligated to work with anybody. And it's no fun to work on things that don't bring you joy or excite you or interest you, because you have to do a lot of work on these ideas. So an agent just doesn't do any book just because they can sell it. But that's aside. What I really love right now is Amy Tangerine's Instagram. And she's an artist, and she has a book coming out with Abrams called Craft the Life You Love. And she does a lot of bullet journaling. And I'm not a crazy bullet journaler. I have a modified bullet journal that works for me in keeping all the tiny little details I need to remember day to day. But she does the most beautiful things in her journals. And I'm a real paper, like, I love paper things, and I love stationery and pens and things like that, like a lot of us do. And she will just have the most beautiful penmanship and beautiful like stickers and paint and all kinds of things on her journal. And it's like, it just makes me happy to see that someone is making to-do lists that are so beautiful. And it encourages me to kind of look at my to-do lists as not just utilitarian. And I feel better when things are neat, and do better work when things are neat and pretty. So it's kind of both, it helps my productivity, but I also just really enjoy it.
Absolutely. I love Amy, and I also love beautifying the things that we use every day. And so I think that fits perfectly. So, well, Kate, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience.
Happy to. I'm really glad. And thank you for all the good work you do.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Kate is awesome. I feel so lucky that she was on board with Craft Industry Alliance so early on, and has been such an enthusiastic supporter of us over the past 2 years. And it's members like Kate who contribute so much to our community, because as she mentions, Kate has actually written some articles for our journal. And I want to talk a little bit now about our journal and flesh out what it includes. And that's a big part of what you get when you become a member.
So our journal comes out twice a month, every other week, and in it there are always 3 articles and 1 resource. So our articles are all written by paid professionals. We try and find really great writers. The articles are anything from legal issues to sourcing products, small batch manufacturing, color trends, industry news, things like that. And they're all really valuable, and they're all available in our archives. So if you join, then you get access to all of those past issues of the journal.
And then each issue also comes with a resource. And I just think this is so cool. And we have a whole library of them now available, 2 years worth, which is sort of amazing. And I think there's over 50 of them. So these are things that are like a downloadable spreadsheet that you can fill in to help you prepare your business for, if something bad happens. Like, if you're running a professional business, that's probably something that you should do. So that's one of our resources. We have another one that's about where to get stickers made. And I actually just used this the other day because I needed to get stickers made for something I'm preparing for the holidays. And it's like, there's all these places to get stickers made for your business. Like, which one's the best one and which one specializes in the kind of sticker I need? And this, we've compiled all that information with links directly there and feedback from our members as to which one's best. So it's so valuable. And there's just tons of resources just like that that are in there. I don't know if you have another favorite resource that you turn to from time to time, Kristin.
Yeah, well, I remember we spent a ton of time compiling all of the craft book publishers and what types of craft that they usually publish. And I think that one's pretty handy.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. And same thing we did with magazine publishers. So if you want to get your things featured in a magazine, we've got a whole list and all of the links directly there, what's required, etc. So we're saving you lots of time and energy trying to figure all this stuff out. So why not have it all there for our members to use and contribute to? So that's something that you also get in the journal. And like we mentioned earlier, if you join now, you get all access to all those archives. So you can, go on there and take a look. Next up, we have another Craft Industry Alliance member, to talk with and get to know a little bit more about her business and also find out why she decided to join Craft Industry Alliance. So here is Gott Warner. Hi, Kara.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us for this special episode.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
So, Kara, if you can just tell us a little bit about your craft business, because I think it's so interesting. You've had quite an interesting journey and are at kind of a unique moment right now.
I am, exactly. I guess where should I start? I'll just kind of jump in where I am right now. And so I work as a mentor and a business coach, and I educate and empower budding and established designers and makers in their creative businesses, particularly yarn crafters like knitters, crocheters that really want to take it to that next level. And I tap into my 15 plus years in the needle arts world as a knitwear designer, illustrator, and the former executive editor of Creative Knitting magazine. And also I'm the host of Power Pearls podcast. So I share, on-air coaching sessions. I chat with industry rock stars, as I like to call them. And, I feel like having that ability or having had the platform of the magazine has really helped me to develop some really amazing relationships in the industry.
Yeah, that's great. And I know I sort of met you way back when you were working at Annie's, and I happened to be out there recording an online class. So it's so fun that like people you meet years back, it's like those relationships just grow over time.
It's so true. And I was actually, before we jumped online, I was just sort of saying a little gratitude, kind of had a gratitude moment. Like, how cool is it that I get to talk to people in this industry, in this world that I'm so passionate about?
Absolutely. That's one of the best things about working in craft, for sure. What drew you to sort of reaching out to us and saying, hey, I want to be part of this?
So many things. I mean, I first joined probably now a couple of years ago, when I was still at the helm of creative knitting, because, I found the Alliance to be definitely like a lifeline and a great way to help me tap into what's going on in the industry, and to also rely upon it as a great resource. Because, I really wanted to get to know what other serious creative business owners were doing, and listen to those conversations about how they were building their businesses. Because, you can go to Ravelry or Facebook, but, you have to kind of sift through the noise, so to speak, but to really talk to people that were really serious and making it happen. So that's what first drew me to the Alliance.
That's amazing. Yes, thank you so much. And it's people like you who are part of this and contribute your expertise, your opinion, your perspective that make the community so much richer. So we so appreciate your membership and your contributions as we go along.
Well, and I just wanted to add to that last point too. It's like it's so great that being in this organization, then you can also share your expertise, write articles, because you just gave me this great opportunity to write a piece for the journal, the Alliance Journal, and then of course doing the webinar. Whenever this is going to air later, but to do the webinar and podcasting. So it's, there's so many wonderful opportunities, not only as a resource, but, opportunities to do more and pay forward that knowledge.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's totally true. And I think I have to say, I feel like by being able to pay contributors, even though we're not paying some extraordinary amount of money, but being able to pay people and respect them for their expertise and their time, I feel like has helped us also get expert voices like yours. So that's been great.
Yes. So the coffee clatch, did I say that right? Is it coffee and clatch? Coffee clatch,
You
right?
got it. Yep.
Yeah. And I've only been able to join once, but I really appreciate that you actually have the recordings, because it's just nice to be able to know that you're not alone out there, and to be able to sit in a video room with others that are out there, working on their business. Because, what we do as, these solo creativepreneurs, however you want to phrase it, we're alone, and it's comforting because it's like being in a community, and to just have that lifeline. So that I really appreciate. And then the articles, one in particular that I really found helpful was the Patreon article that was written a couple months ago, just because it pointed out the realities about what it really means to build a membership model on a platform like that and how much more work it really takes than you realize. So that was just sort of like here's the real deal, and I just appreciated that. Just it wasn't as polished, but it was still very, very encouraging and inspiring. But what I meant polished, yes, the writing, but polished as far as, you read something that says, oh, it's so great, try this, try that. But it just kind of showed the pros and cons is really what I wanted to say. And then the webinars, great resource. I find two that I really particularly loved was the one on building, creating and growing your newsletter base, your lists. And also May Pack, who did an awesome webinar recently on how to create Facebook ads, which was, just really actionable advice. I thought that was great. She's just awesome. So those are things I'm loving.
Thank you so much. That's terrific. And I also wanted to give you a chance, if you have something that's not Craft Industry Alliance related, but is just like a book or a tool or a website or even like yarn, it could be yarn or what's on your needles right now that you would like to just recommend in general for creative people.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
I have 4 things.
You're amazing. Okay.
I'll be quick. No, anyway. So they're all digital things, right? So it's what really helps my business. It's like the lifeblood of my business, and it's WordFlow on my iPhone, Evernote, and Evernote, Asana, and Dropbox.
So I've heard of Evernote. I know people who love Asana, and I definitely use Dropbox, but I haven't heard of that first one. So what is that about?
Okay, WordFlow, it's on my phone. It's an app, and it's like Swipe. Are you familiar with Swipe for your phone?
No.
So, oh my gosh, when I found this the first time, I saw a friend doing it. I'm like, what are you doing? Basically, you take your thumb or your finger, whatever it is, and you swipe a word. Like it intuitively knows what word you are typing. I can type faster on my phone than on my keyboard, and I'm a fast finger, typer, on my keyboard. So you swipe the words, typing an email, whatever you want to do. So it's the app. Yeah, check it out. WordFlow. Go into the App Store. Check it out. So WordFlow. So that makes me really fast on my keyboard.
So it'll basically as you're writing, let's say you're writing the word grateful and you start typing a G and an R, it intuits from the sentence or something like that you want that word. It appears the way that autocorrect does or something, and then you just swipe it?
No, it's even better than that. Instead of that, you actually start with the G with your thumb on it and swipe to the R. It's like you're dragging, put your thumb down and you drag across all the letters, and all of a sudden it pops up, and it pops up on your screen, so you don't even have to select it. It types it as you're swiping it.
Wow. This is really okay. I'm going to go get this immediately after we get off.
So cool. And no one's ever mentioned this. I thought, oh my gosh. So that combined with Evernote, Asana, and Dropbox, because Evernote and Asana and Dropbox all are on my phone, and then they, of course, sync to my desktop. So if my computer exploded tomorrow, it wouldn't matter, because these 4 tools would allow me to literally conduct business anywhere. And on my phone.
And I know you're a mom, and I'm a mom, and Kristin's a mom, and being able to do that on your phone on the go is also such a huge time saver and lifesaver. So that's terrific. Thank you so much for these awesome recommendations, and thank you for being a Craft Industry Alliance member. We're super excited for the years to come, and that we're here to celebrate our 2nd year anniversary with you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kara. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye. Kara has so much wisdom and expertise to share. She's amazing. We are so proud to have her as a member. And actually, this month, Kara taught a webinar for us all about podcasting, which is kind of meta, and how crafters can pitch to be on various podcasts and then leverage the experience of being on a podcast to actually grow their businesses. So if you do have that opportunity to get on one, how can you use that recording to help, propel your business forward. And Kara shared all of her expertise on that in this webinar. So we are so proud to be able to offer that webinar and more like the one that she taught by all kinds of different industry experts. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of our webinars, Kristin?
Yeah, I'll just go through some of the ones that I thought were really interesting. We had a webinar about how to choose an insurance policy for your small business. We had one with Erin Dollar about wholesale for craft businesses, which was really interesting. Kim Worker talked about effective online teaching. Vanessa Wilson, she talked, just kind of improvised. She's such a good and creative person about innovative ways to diversify your craft business. So we really have a lot of amazing presenters come on, real experts in their field, and the webinars are all there, all recorded after the live presentation. If you can't make it to the live presentation, then you can check it out later.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to have these people come on live for if you can attend live when you are a member, because you get the opportunity to talk with them in real time. So you can ask your specific questions, and get them answered, which I think is such a cool opportunity. One of my other favorites, we had May Pack on, and she talked about how to do Facebook ads the right way. I just find Facebook ads so mystifying because there's so many options, and I feel like it's kind of easy to waste your money and get not a whole lot of return. And I was, I'm just really hesitant to do that. So I've been shying away from them, but May has it totally figured out, and she made it simple and doable. And I just felt like, I was like, oh, this is such a huge confidence booster after hearing her webinar. So for me, I feel like being able to learn from her in a setting like that is worth the price of membership alone, in all honesty. So,
yeah. And we sometimes after our webinars, we start a forum thread about the webinar so people can talk about it and follow up. And we had some people after May's webinar talk about how they used Facebook ads and noticed a difference right away. So it was very valuable for a lot of people.
Totally. I think that's so good. It's like news you can use, right? You can just put it into practice the next day. So yeah, that's the best. So this year we've also been doing some legal Q&A sessions with an attorney. So these are super valuable. We have members submit questions in advance, and then we have a lawyer go through all the questions and provide insights and answers. And so we offered one earlier in 2017, and I'm excited that we're offering another one of these in October. So that's something that we plan to continue doing, because I feel like getting access to a lawyer who understands craft and can answer your questions is hard, and is expensive, frankly. And so this is super valuable and something I'm really proud that we're able to offer.
Yeah, even though she's legal only in certain states, it's still usually information that is applicable across the board, or you can take that information and, find a lawyer in your state.
Absolutely. Like, she's not going to answer your specific legal problem, but she can certainly speak to overall issues around contracts and trademark and that sort of thing. And it's so valuable.
Yeah.
So, all right, we are ready to bring on our third guest, and we are going to talk now with Craft Industry Alliance member Ann Martin. Here's Ann.
Hey, today we're here with Ann Martin, and Ann is a paper quilling enthusiast and author who has been exploring the worlds of creative paper art and paper craft on her blog, All Things Paper, since 2009. And Ann is a Craft Industry Alliance member, and she has also written for our journal. Thanks for being here, Ann.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your business, what you do?
Sure. What I love to do most of all is design patterns and write tutorials. I love coming up with quilt designs. And then, that makes it easy for folks who are new to the hobby to, get inspiration, and they can replicate what I've done and then go on and with what they've learned and create their own designs.
And clarifying, you said quill, not quilt, right?
That's absolutely right. It's two L's, no T. That's often mixed up. But quilling has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. It was popular just back in the 1970s, and I completely missed it then. But about 15 years ago, I saw an article in Martha Stewart Living, and I just thought it was so beautiful. It was all these, pearled strips of paper that looked so graceful, and I just wanted to try it immediately. So I went to the library, found some books, and got started, joined some online groups, and it took off from there. It was a hobby at first, of course, and then I've been able to parlay it into a little bit of a business. I've done customized wedding designs for years now, in mostly marriage certificates that are signed by the wedding guests and then framed. And they're framed and hung in the couple's home as a remembrance of their wedding. And,
I bet that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, they are pretty, and you can gear them toward the color palette of the wedding or whatever the couple wants. But mostly I've been designing card designs, wall art, and then most recently jewelry. I love to make paper jewelry.
Wow, that sounds really interesting and beautiful. Abby and I were just talking about the article that you wrote for the journal about paper quilling and how that's actually one of our most viewed articles, and it's really our prettiest article, I think. And
that's so nice to hear. Good.
Yeah, and ever since I read that, I really see it everywhere. It seems to be very popular now.
It is definitely becoming more and more popular now. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, cool. there was even a United States Forever Love stamp last year that featured a quill design.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Well, can you tell us a little bit about why you joined Craft Industry Alliance and what you get out of your membership?
Sure. Oh, I enjoy the membership a lot. It's just a great place to stay in touch with what's going on in the craft industry. I'm always learning something new from the blog posts, and it's just nice to meet, like-minded people. One of my favorite blog posts recently was by Katie Lane, an attorney who wrote about how to become a confident negotiator. And
yes.
Now I just, I'm a little bit of an introvert, I have to admit, but whenever I'm in a stressful situation, I can picture myself standing in my Wonder Woman pose. She suggested that was one of her tips, to prepare yourself physically, when you're entering into a negotiation. So I thought that was pretty neat. And
Katie did a webinar for us too. That was kind of on the same topic, and it was really helpful.
I will go back and look for that. That's another great thing about the website is, the archives. Everything is there. In fact, I just need a huge chunk of time to go back and read all of the previous editions of the newsletter that comes, every couple of weeks to my inbox, that calls attention to all the latest articles.
Yeah.
So that's really nice to receive.
They're all there. And, anyone that joins, even if you join today, you get access to our whole archives of information. So it's there when you need it, not necessarily, you don't have to.
That's true.
It's not all timely information. Some of it is, but a lot of it is going to be relevant for years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I like the current trends articles in the blog. There was a recent one about scrapbooking trends. And even though I'm not a scrapbooker, but because I make quilled cards, there is some crossover. Like the latest icons were mentioned, how rainbows and flamingos are super popular right now. So I'll know to incorporate them in my upcoming designs.
Oh,
and
cool. Yeah.
There was a neat post about becoming a cruise instructor. And that was something that I've been curious about because I think, a quilling cruise could actually become a thing. So,
I think so. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And there was another starting a niche magazine that gave me lots to think about too, because quilling is such a small targeted audience, but it doesn't have its own magazine, that's for sure.
There you go. That's great. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for being a member and thanks for contributing. It's wonderful to have you. I was wondering if there's something that you're loving right now. It doesn't necessarily have to be from Craft Industry Alliance, but a tool or a book or website or something that you would recommend to our members.
Sure, yeah. I can think of a couple right off the top of my head. I really enjoy blog posts by Laura C. George. She's a business consultant for artists, and she sends out just a weekly blog post. And I love the way she starts it off. She'll say, you can read this in 1 minute and 9 seconds or something like that. Just a small little bite, but it gets my attention every time. And then I find myself clicking over to read her blog post.
Well, that's terrific. She sounds like maybe she would be a good writer for us.
Yes, absolutely. She did a really neat one recently on what happens when somebody criticizes the price of your art, and then she gave all sorts of ideas on how do you handle that situation. Then I also love the Dear Handmade Life podcast. Those ladies always make me laugh, Delilah Snell and Nicole Stevenson.
Yeah,
the organizers of Craftcation, and I really enjoy their podcast. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Nicole is she's done some of the art for our website.
Oh, neat! So, I didn't realize that.
We were just in touch with her recently about our website refresh for our 2-year anniversary. So that's great. Nice. That's fun. I've listened to their podcast a couple times. I have to remember to put it in my favorites playlist. I haven't done that yet. Okay, great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Anne?
I don't. Oh, I know. One more post that I really enjoyed was the one about Instagram bots. I had never considered that they could possibly, that there could possibly be a benefit, but that was a neat article on the blog. So. Oh,
right, because there's so much controversy around them for somebody to say, but actually this might be a good idea was, something unique. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprising.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Anne. Thanks for being a member, and thanks for joining us here today.
Well, certainly, and thanks for all you do.
I've been a fan of Anne's newsletter, All Things Paper, for years, and it's amazing. If you don't subscribe, I totally recommend it. She has her thumb on the papercraft world in a way that very few other people do. So membership in Craft Industry Alliance offers you the opportunity to meet and network with members like the people that we're talking with today on the show. And one of the ways that you get to do that is through our twice monthly Coffee Klatch online meetup.
Yeah, Coffee Klatch is one of my favorite aspects of Craft Industry Alliance. We use online meeting software called Zoom, and it allows us to have meetings with up to 50 people, I believe, and you can see each other. So we say at a certain time we're all going to get together, and people log on, and they've got their coffee, or sometimes they're at night, so they've got their wine, whatever. And it's an open-ended meeting, and it's facilitated by another Craft Industry Alliance member, Deborah. And people can come on and ask whatever questions they want. And the conversation sometimes runs toward teaching platforms, and sometimes it's more towards social media questions. But, usually about a dozen people come and they talk openly and, get to know each other. And it's really neat.
Yeah, it's been great, and making connections there for future collaborations. And I learned so much just from sitting and listening to other people, going through what happened to them when they tried to get a book published or whatever recent thing happened in their business. And it's, we talk about Craftsy, Creative Bug, we talk about everything. So it's been wonderful. And if you are a member of Craft Industry Alliance, I hope you'll join us for an upcoming Coffee Klatch. So
yeah. When Deborah does facilitate, she always sends us a list of topics that came up, and we actually get a lot of journal content from those conversations because we're like, wow, this really is a good topic to discuss. We should find some expert and have them write about it.
Yeah, we get a sense of what's bubbling up for sure. And then we can find a really good voice to talk about or shed light on that issue. So it's nice symbiosis, all of these different components. I feel like they all work together really nicely. Okay, we're ready for our final guests. It's actually going to be 2 guests. So this is Katin and Traci. They are both Craft Industry Alliance members, and they own Stitchery, which is a brick and mortar retail space in Rhode Island. So here is Katin and Traci.
Today we're talking with Craft Industry Alliance members Katin and Traci. They are the owners of Stitchery, which is a brick and mortar store in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Stitchery was created by them. They were 2 friends, and they're both needle arts instructors. Katin teaches sewing, and Traci teaches knitting. Their shared passion for the preservation and instruction of traditional needle arts brought them to the realization that an instructional studio space would be a perfect environment for sharing and nurturing the joy of such traditional art. So thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, tell us more about your space and what you do.
Our space is primarily a teaching space. We have a small amount of retail, but primarily it's classes. And we teach children and adults in a wide range of crafts, actually. Not only sewing and knitting, but as much as we can cram in, really. There seems to be a huge gap in the education system for these kinds of crafts. So
yeah, not really so much those classes taught in schools anymore at all. No, not as much home ec and things like that. Yeah, exactly. And art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what else? What in your space, are you the main teachers, or do you have other teachers in there?
We are the main instructors. We've invited a couple of different guest instructors to do specialty workshops and things that we're interested in that our students are interested in, but that we can't personally teach. For example, we had a shibori dyeing class, and just last month we had a rug hooking class.
That sounds terrific. I'm in Boise, and we don't have anything like that here. I wish we did. I might have to start something. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, you're Craft Industry Alliance members. I'm not sure how long you've been members, but can you tell us about why you joined?
Well, I first learned about it, this is Katin, through Abby's website, While She Naps. I'd been a long-time reader of hers, and I've also been a long-time follower of Sew Mama Sew. It's just a terrific resource. And it seemed interesting to check it out. And I think I've been a member mostly since the beginning. And Traci,
I think I joined about 6 months ago on Karen's recommendation. But the main thing that sparked my interest was the fact that you were having webinars. And the one that really interested me was the whole insurance webinar you had, which was just about the time that we were really starting to get going. Mm-hmm. And insurance was a big concern for us because of having children in the space.
Yes.
A lot of equipment. And, with it being an actual, store space, we were worried about, losses and people being injured and one thing and another. So that was a really useful webinar for us.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't really think about and know that much about is different types of business insurance and what kind you need to have. And even if you're just a blogger, like me, I still have business insurance. So yeah, I agree that one was really interesting. So I'm glad you got something out of it.
I think the variety of topics and resources that you've been providing are things that are so useful to really small businesses or single owners that are just starting out and really aren't sure what to do to get going. And you have a wide range of things. The thing that really spoke to us recently was your template for a press release, because neither one of us has a marketing background, and we weren't really sure, all right, we're taking the leap of rent on a space and we need to fill our classroom with students. How do we get the word out? And that was such a critical launch point for us, being able to use that template And we sent it to everyone that we could pick out. We sent it to all the Rhode Island news outlets. And with that and the book Handmade Marketplace, which gave some great tips on putting together a press kit, we got some serious attention right out the gate. Yeah. And we never would have gotten that if we hadn't had that boost.
No.
Oh, that's so great to hear. Well, congratulations on that. Was that before you opened the doors or right after?
Yeah.
Right before.
Yeah. Right away.
Awesome.
Away. And I don't think that Rhode Island Monthly Magazine would have even known about us if we hadn't sent them the press kit. And that very quickly spiraled into winning an editor's pick for Best of Rhode Island this summer. So, and that has really cascaded. Yeah. And we've had so much business come in because of that award in the past couple of weeks.
Terrific. That's so good to hear. Well, thank you. Thanks for being members, and thanks for telling us about that, because I know you sent us an email that said like, hey, this press release really worked for us, and it's just something that's so rewarding for Abby and I to hear that. We send out this newsletter all the time, and we do these things, and sometimes it's nice to hear back.
Oh, we definitely
appreciate it.
Definitely wanted to give thanks, because it's
huge.
A great resource. I want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. Well, how about, do you have any recommendations for things that you love that not necessarily Craft Industry Alliance related, but books or apps or tools?
Related to the store, we couldn't have really marketed ourselves the same way without having a website. And neither of us have a website background in any way, shape, or form. And we used a company called Yola, which enabled me to build the website without using a web developer, which, is a huge expense for people.
Yeah.
But people want to be able to look at what you've got in your store or what classes you're running, and they want to look online. And it's really enabled us to put together the class schedule and enabled us to make sales online. Pretty easily explained, and with a little bit of practice, it's fairly easy to run, and that's made a huge difference. So
we had a parent just recently say, I was signing up for class for my daughter, and it was so easy. It was like shopping on Amazon.
Oh my gosh, that's terrific. So that's called Yola, Yola.
Yeah, yola.com. Okay. Yeah, it's been a really great platform for putting any website together. Yeah.
Terrific. All right. Thanks for that. Was there anything else?
Oh, I have a couple of embroidery recommendations. I teach a lot of embroidery classes at the shop, and one of the best threads that I've come across is by Cosmo. It's a sparkly thread. So instead of the metallic thread that you see in the store from DMC, which is really, really hard to work with, it's just gorgeous. It's from Japan, and I love it.
Okay, great. You said you had a couple of them?
Along with that, there's a free app that works extremely well for tracing embroidery patterns. It's called Screenlight, and it essentially turns your iPad into a light box, so you can transfer your embroidery designs without having to invest in any equipment.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. What's it called again?
Screenlight.
Screenlight. Okay. That is so brilliant. I was recently looking at light boxes for my daughter, but maybe we don't need one.
Yeah, I don't.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Karen and Traci, and for being members of Craft Industry Alliance.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for everything. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
I'm constantly wowed by what our members are doing and by the impressive businesses that they're running, and they're also their willingness to be open and supportive with fellow craft business owners. So I want to let you know that Craft Industry Alliance membership is open now. If you are interested in joining us, the rates are really reasonable for businesses of all sizes, whether you're like me, a business of one person working out of a home studio, or whether you have multiple employees. We've made the rates for membership affordable for businesses of any size.
We have 3 membership levels with, length of membership. You can join for 1 year for $66, or you can join for 6 months for $39. We also have a corporate discount. So if you had a business that had, let's say, 5 employees that you would like to join, then we can offer you a discount on all of your memberships. And one thing that I really like about our memberships is that everybody joins as an individual. So everyone is an individual who owns a small business. They're not a business, so we get to know each other pretty well.
Absolutely. So even if you're a CEO, you join as you, and we get to know you, which is great. Absolutely. Yeah. So head over to craftindustryalliance.org to check it out. And if you would like to write for our journal or for our blog or conduct a webinar sometime in the future, or if you have other ideas, please get in touch. You can reach both Kristin and me at hello@craftindustryalliance.org. And we are proud to be able to pay writers as well as webinar leaders. And we are totally open to new ideas as we continue to grow our organization beyond our first 2 years. So Kristin, thank you so much for joining me today on the While She Naps podcast. This was so fun.
Yeah, it was. It's a great way to celebrate our 2-year anniversary.
Yay! And you've been listening to the While She Naps podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Visit my blog, whileshenaps.com, where you can sign up for my email newsletter to get the best in sewing and blogging and small business delivered right to your inbox each week. And if you enjoy the show, tell a friend about it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.